Hey everybody, it's Eric with Low VA Rates, and today we're going to talk about when it's time for you to move to a new state and you want to buy a new home. We're going to get into that. We recently had someone ask us right in our little YouTube comment section, which we invite you to always engage with us right here on YouTube. We had someone ask us about buying a home in a state that they were planning to move to. Since they hadn't yet moved, they were wondering if they could still buy a home now, or if they had to wait until they actually moved to that state. Well, we've got some good news. If you're thinking about doing this and you want to use your VA loan benefits to purchase a home in a state that you don't live in right now, before you move there, you can do it. And we're gonna talk in today's video exactly how that process works so that your dream home will be ready and waiting for you when you arrive. Now, don't forget, it's Friday. I always say that and it's like, Eric, do you really think people forget what day it is? Well, maybe. Sometimes if your week just gets crazy like mine, you might not realize it's Friday, but every single Friday when I'm getting dressed, gotta put on red. Why do we wear red here at Low VA Rates on Friday? It stands for remembering everyone deployed. We take it a bit further and say whether deployed or not, if you've served in the military, if you support the military, we wanna wear red. We invite you to do the same thing. Speaking of red, don't forget to subscribe by clicking that link down to the bottom right corner of your screen. Specifically, go find us on YouTube. Sometimes you might find this video on Facebook or Instagram or somewhere else floating around, but it's on YouTube where we really want you to subscribe because we have an entire library of important information like what we're going to talk to today. Again, what are we talking about today? Moving out of state. Moving out of state. Can I use my VA loan to buy a home before I ever get there? Something like that. So you guys get the point, right? Yes, you can. And I'm going to break it down in a few different steps on how you can do it and do it the right way. Number one, find a VA lender that is licensed not in the state where you live today, but is licensed in the state that you're moving to, okay? One, lender licensed in the new state. Imagine you call up a loan officer. I'm located in Utah. And somebody calls me up and says, hey, I want to buy a new home. I just assume they're buying in Utah because that's where I'm located. They don't ever mention it. We get all the way to the finish line and then I find out, oh, you mean the loan that you want to buy is in New York? Well, we don't do loans in New York. We just both wasted each other's time. So it's finding a lender that's licensed in the new state. Let's say you've received PCS orders and this is why you're moving. Or if you're a veteran, you have a job offer in another state that you're moving to. Either one. You can start looking for a lender who's licensed to do loans in that state that you're moving to. Now, we're licensed in every single state except for New York and Massachusetts. So please consider us no matter where you're moving, unless you're going to one of those two states. Now, as always, we recommend shopping around with at least two lenders. It could be three, so that you can get us, I'm going to throw myself in there because I hope we're always one of the ones that you're getting, to compete for your business. When banks compete, you always get a better deal. So we want to emphasize that finding a lender, not just that's willing to compete with us, but that also specializes in VA loans is in your best interest. We've talked about this in other videos, but lenders with VA loan experience will make the process so much easier and faster than those who only do VA loans once in a blue moon. And trust me, they're out there. Find an expert. Second step, find a realtor who's savvy about VA loans. So step one, get your loan officer first or your lender. Then get your realtor or your real estate agent. And I would try to find one who's experienced working with service members or veterans. Interview them. Find out if they've done VA loans before or helped negotiate the purchase of a home using a VA loan. Luckily, the lenders that you found when doing step one should be able to help put you in contact by giving you recommendations of different realtors that they've worked with in the past. Now, we've also covered this entire topic in its very own video, which you can see the link below this video and go there. But one reason you want a realtor with VA loan experience is that they will be able to understand all of the unique needs that might pop up. They're going to be more familiar with the VA loan process, so you can trust them to only show you houses that are likely to pass VA appraisals, and ultimately get approved for a VA loan. Now, another thing that they'll understand, how to help you buy a home when you can't check it out in person. That's what's likely going to happen if you're moving out of state. So buying a home sight unseen is still pretty uncommon in the modern mortgage world. That doesn't mean it's impossible. A realtor who's worked with military personnel or families before is going to know all the different tips and tricks to help you feel confident about buying a home that you just can't go visit in person. There are video walkthroughs, there are 3D tours, okay, where people are providing their honest professional opinion about the condition of the home. And a VA experienced realtor is going to have your back. They're also able to recommend areas of town that will make it easier to rent out or sell your home for the case where you might PCS again, as well as ideal neighborhoods for your family or your commute to the base. If you have the time and the means, you could also schedule a quick weekend trip, especially if you're moving to Hawaii, why not, and take a look at the home in person. This part of the process isn't necessary. With today's technology and everything else I just talked about, it's simply just a nice bonus if you can figure it out. Let's talk about the third step in getting prepared to move out of state and buying a home with your VA benefits, okay? Number 3, you need to make an offer on the home that you find before you move there. You gotta make your offer. Now you might say, well, that's pretty obvious. Well, we try to simplify these videos as much as we can, and trust me, you're gonna want to make an offer before you get too amped up about moving out of state. Okay, it's not too different from how the regular process of buying a home in the same state that you live in is, but let's talk about it. Your realtor will help you craft an offer and complete your negotiations. Once you have an offer that's been accepted, you'll go through the normal VA loan process of telling your lender, getting a VA appraisal done, and all these things. Basically, everything from here forward will proceed as normal all the way up until when you close. Now, a fourth thing I want you to be aware of is that closing, moving, and occupancy requirements do exist, okay? There's 3 things I'm gonna talk about: closing, moving, and occupancy requirements. I'll put that right here. Closing, moving, and occupancy. Writing's getting progressively worse as the day goes on. This is where things might start to differ a little bit. Usually when you close your loan, you meet in person, almost always at the same title company or title agency of the seller. There's a notary involved, and your realtor is normally there, and a lawyer if one's needed in the state that you're in. You all meet together. However, that can be tricky to do when you're living, again, let's say in Utah where I live, and you're gonna move to Hawaii. That's gonna be very difficult. Luckily, plenty of things can be signed digitally these days. And for the paperwork that does require a wet signature, you can print those out, sign them in the state that you live in. It's basically a split closing. You're gonna close and do everything in the state where you live. The seller is likely gonna do their closing where they live, and it all works out. All these documents end up back at the same place so that your loan can fund, okay? You're still gonna have to have, like I said, witnesses there, notaries, depending on the different laws, and this is not the video where I talk about that. Just know this is becoming more and more common that we do split closings, especially on VA loans. Luckily, your loan officer and realtor are gonna be able to guide you in this area, and it will all get set up properly. It'll be done legally, and there will be no problems. Once everything's signed and recorded, it's time to talk about moving, right? We just talked about the closing process, now moving. This is where we have to really focus on the VA's occupancy requirements. Generally speaking, the VA requires you to move into the home that you just closed on as your primary residence within 60 days of closing. Some lenders may be more strict. They want it immediately or 30 days. Some might be a little bit more lenient. But the VA's guidelines and our interpretation here at Low VA Rates, we really want to see you taking occupancy of the home within 60 days. If you do need more time, that's possible, but there needs to be a request made so that some sort of an exception to that rule can be given. You are going to need to provide the specific date that you do plan to move in, as well as the event that will make occupancy possible. What does that mean? Well, I start my job on the 10th of, let's just say, February, or moving on the 5th, right? There's an event that's making the reasoning that you're moving there possible. Some of the common situations that allows for an extension of the occupancy requirement include retirement within the next 12 months after applying for your loan, a PCS date that is later than 60 days from closing, certain deployments, etc. So, it's not an all-inclusive list, but there are situations when that 60 days, I'm going to put that here just so you guys see it, 60 days. You've got to be taking occupancy of your home within 60 days. If you can't, then let's talk about that, and certainly don't throw the VA loan out the window. There are opportunities to go beyond that. So again, sticking to the example, if you currently live in Utah, you're planning to move to Hawaii, it's possible to buy a home in that beautiful state of Hawaii before you ever even get there. You just need to follow the steps we just talked about, and I would strongly urge you to pick up the phone, though we do a lot of things digitally these days through chat, through instant messenger. However you want to get a hold of us, do it, but for something of this complexity, give us a call. We have a whole army of licensed loan officers that are always here, ready to help you. We can make this happen. So we're here to help you. We're here not just on Fridays. Yes, on Fridays we wear red. There's your reminder to do it with me next week. Please keep tuning in every single week and check out our YouTube page for a whole bunch of other very important videos that will help you become an expert on your VA mortgage benefits.